ones I have to ask.
Alright. Alright, I'm Jeanette.
I'm Chelsea.
I'm Eva.
I'm Hillary.
Okay, so this week we had articles and a couple videos to watch about the CRC and the United Nations and parental rights and stuff. You guys want me just to start going through the questions?
Sure.
First little side note, I thought the video about Vegas was hilarious because I'm from Vegas. I'm just like, yeah, this is where I'm from. And I mean, almost so whenever I went up to school, I'd always say, apparently what happened there didn't stay there because I'm here. Like, you know. But so it's always funny because somehow Vegas always has to come up in almost every one of my classes at some point. So it's just kind of funny just because of that slogan. But which is obviously very wrong. But anywho. Okay,
isn't there
so
a lot of members? Isn't there a lot of members in Vegas? Okay.
The church is huge here. Huge. There's, not quite like, how Utah, it's like almost a church on every corner. We're not that huge, but the church is very big here. Mormons actually started Las Vegas, which is kind of weird, right? And then the mob moved in and built the Strip, and then the Mormons moved on to California and stuff. But we actually started Vegas, guys, so go us.
Right.
Okay, so I'll just start with the first question. Any other questions you want to add in, feel free. Okay, so the first one says, what were your impressions of the CRC article and video by the United Nations? What about the article and video of parental rights? I don't know, the video, what was that? What was her name, sister? What was her name? Anyways, the main video we had to watch.
The hour-long one with Sister Houghton?
Yeah.
Houghton, I think?
Yeah, Houghton. Okay. Oh, God, I mean, first off, she was a great speaker. She really knew what she was talking about. She had everything researched. I really liked what she was saying because it really goes to show how much the front that Satan puts up. He makes it sound so great and pretty because as you're looking at the CRC websites and stuff and things that we had to read through, it sounded so eloquent. Like, yes, this is what I want. This is perfect. Everyone should have these things. But then as she was going through and talking about each one of them and like the stuff that's put inside those articles and whatever else, it's just like, oh my gosh, that is not what you were first trying to sell to me at all. It was awful, so awful. I was really appalled and kind of quite frightened about the things that our government is trying to pass and implement into our lives. Like, I don't want anyone to have control over my family like that. Like, that should be me and my husband's choice, nobody else's. That was quite frightening for me, even though I don't even have kids yet. It makes you scared to have kids.
Yeah.
But, which, is exactly what Satan wants, of course. So obviously we've got to keep fighting that. But I was thoroughly appalled.
I thought the CRC article and video were misrepresentative of what they're actually doing. What they say and what they're actually doing are two different things, I thought. And it makes me afraid. It makes me scared for my family and my kids and the next generations. And the article the video about parental rights was very informative. I like the top or the 20 reasons why we should be against the CRC bill. I thought that was really good. And I like I'm probably skipping ahead, but I also liked I think it was a talk show guy that was interviewing those two women, and he said, I liked her last little snippet of, she said, support Senate Bill 519 to block the UNCRC. I thought that was really good, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do something about it. So we just moved here, so I had to look up my representative and my senators, and I emailed my senator, and I said, you should, so I
Wow.
that.
Good for you.
Thanks. So I'm like, this is horrible. And I felt, it was like just a small paragraph, but, I want my parental rights, and I think everybody should have those parental rights. And nobody knows about this stuff. I didn't know about this. Did you guys know about this?
No, I
Oh.
don't.
And they were so sly. What did President, who was it? They were sly and something else. I forget who said it, but it was sly and I can't remember who said it, but it's very misconceiving. It's very sly, and what they're showing pictures of all these beautiful children that are not in very good circumstances, and your heart goes out to them. And what they're really it's not what they're doing. And there's a judge in New York that is using this as because what President Clinton signed it in 1995, and it has never been sent. And so I'm like, what? How do we not know about this as a public? Why don't we know about these things?
Well, and my question too is, what is wrong with these people who are putting these things forward?
Yeah.
Something mentally has to be wrong, because why would anybody want those things? Why?
Right. Well, I just don't think they know what it means. I really I think they're completely oblivious to it.
I think the countries that have already signed it, they don't have any idea. Like, because if you listen to the other UN stuff when they were talking about, I don't know if it was in this class or it was another class, but they were talking about how, like, whether it was Uganda, they were trying to stop AIDS, the massive AIDS epidemic, and they were like, just give everybody condoms, like it's fine, you know? And they had been preached, both, like, the president of Uganda was telling people abstinence, like, do not have sex until you get married. And that worked, and it went down, like, the AIDS went down, like, the percent of people. And then when the UN stepped in and started giving everybody, like, you know, sex education and all this stuff, then all of a sudden the AIDS went back up. It's like, this is ridiculous. Because they have to fight for what they want as a country, as a people. So I don't think half of the countries who signed it have any idea what it really means.
No.
Well, and she also said it was like a language barrier, because it sounds, if you read the language, it sounds very good. It sounds great, like we should protect children from all these horrible things, and about give them, you know, they should deserve a mother and father, and we should, you know, health and mental health and clothes and food and shelter. Yeah, that's all great, and I think they signed it maybe with a language barrier, or I don't know. That's what I like to think, anyways. But what I want to know is, can you unsign something? You know, like all these countries. Yeah, like, I changed my mind. I don't agree with that anymore. Can you unratify it in your country? Can you, like...
No idea.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know either.
Because that would be good to know, because... that would be good to know.
It's just so scary. Like, I just feel like we're just sitting here, like, have no clue what's going on. And America doesn't know. America doesn't know. I'm like, why is this not headlines all the time? Like, hey, you know, fight against this, or this is what's happening in the UN today, and blah, 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 blah. These are the things that people need to know, not about all these other, no offense, that movie that came out, you know, with the new soldier movie, the true story. I'm sorry, that has been on my TV every single night, every time you pass a news channel.
Right. And the weather. Yeah. And the weather, like, in like, you know, somewhere else, and they spend like forever on it. And I'm wondering, is there no other news, or is this? I understand we should be aware of, like, our country and what's going on in the weather everywhere, and bad storms and blah blah blah. But do they really need to spend 10 minutes on that story? I don't think so.
I would rather hear about this stuff. Yeah, it's hurting all of us. And so I'm just like, why is it that you can have this story about this movie? Yes, sure, it was based on a true story. Go on about this movie for 4 days, when we've got bigger things like this going on that no one even knows about.
Right.
Oh, it's frustrating. It's so frustrating.
But don't you think that they, like, people don't know because I know this may sound strange, but, like, Satan is using the media. Like, I'm not saying that, like, that's the only purpose for it, but he obviously uses the internet. Like, he uses the resources that we use to preach the gospel, to preach hate and evil, and I mean, and his voice is so much louder like
Oh,
is like blaring, you know, and I think that's one reason that it's not on the news and it's not, you know, in other places where it should be, is because he's just so much louder, like, you know. And it's, I mean, think about the gay rights movement, this last, I don't even know how many years it's been, but 3-4 years. It has, even though the majority, the gay people are minorities, like, in society, but they have the majority of the voice. Like, they are so loud that that's all you hear about. Like, it's insane.
Well, and that's what they said in that one article, is how to get your point across is to stand up and you know, yell it and talk loud about it whenever and wherever you can. I mean, that's part of their plan.
Yeah.
And we have to stand up and say, this is our side.
Yeah.
And another, what is it? Another article we read that that people just haven't heard the fight for marriage. They hear it against it all the time for the same-sex marriage, but they never hear the for marriage. Yeah. And then the one guy used the Bible was it the Senate or something like that?
That was awful.
That was awful. But I think that's the only part they hear, and I think they need to hear the stats, the hard facts of how this is going to affect you, me, and everybody in our society.
And that's why I love, like, this class. Like, I love this class because it's helped me to recognize that it's not just standing up for families, but how can I stand up for families in an enticing way? Because, like, if I'm not taking this class, like, I could probably go up there and read the scriptures. But now, like,
yeah, you're a good missionary.
That'd be awesome.
But now, like, I know better, you know, and I love, like, Sister Howard. Is that what you say her name is?
Houghton, I think.
Houghton. Okay, thank you. Sister Houghton. She mentioned how we need to learn to speak up, because, like, I feel like that can also be the problem with, like, people that have 4 families. Like, there's, like, maybe they're so scared that they're like, oh my gosh, like, if I stand up, I'm gonna be the only one standing up. Right. Or, like, if I don't stand up, if I don't stand up, someone else will stand up. But, like, I guess it's just, like, recognizing that we as one person can make a difference, and I think that's what will help.
Well, I think too, as members of the church, you know, which is a big supporter of families, we have been grown and raised on not being contentious people. So this opposite voice is yelling in your face where you can't ignore it, and we're not the kind. We've always been raised not to be the kind who starts fights and arguments. Even, you know, missionaries, they're taught to not to bring contention, because that doesn't invite the Spirit, and that's not going to convert anybody to the gospel. So it's hard for us to really, we can stand our ground, but by doing so, we have to do it in a way where it's not like, yes, we're loud enough to where people hear us, but it can't be in a contentious way, which is exactly what the opposite end is doing. So because the moment we do that, they're going to rip us to shreds, and, you know, rip us apart for, oh, look how awful you are, this and that, blah, blah, blah. So our end is going to be so much harder to fight for, because first off, it's the truth, it's the right end to fight for, and it's, you know, it's always like seeing, you know, like we're the underdogs almost, but, you know, and we also have to do it in a Christ-like manner, and that's, I think, you know, kind of the hardest part, because the opposite end doesn't have to. It's free game for them. There's no rules, no boundaries, whereas us, we are trying to be Christ-like and fight for our rights at the same time.
So I just want to jump in. What you were talking about totally reminded me of, like, Faml the Lamanite. And the reason is because even though we try to be very Christ-like and you try to stand up for what's right and what's not, I think more, like, the further we get in this fight for right, like, it's going to be more aggressive. Like, people are going to have to be more aggressive. I mean, I don't think Faml the Lamanite stood on the wall like, hey guys, like, you're really, like, you need to get a grip. I mean, think about it. Like, I'm sure, like, he's screaming at them to be like, you need to repent. Like, and I think that eventually, I don't know when, but eventually it will become, like, it will have to be like that, where you're either going to call people to repentance, and I'm not saying us in general, like you and me, but I'm talking about, like, have you not noticed in General Conference over the last, like, 10 years, 12 years, the difference in their, how they communicate, like, how they give talks? I mean, it has totally changed.
Oh, yeah.
From, like, 15 years ago, they used to be so subtle. Like, everything was like, oh, love your neighbors, and they would tell good stories, and, you know, and every once in a while you'd have Elder Scott be like, blah, 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 you know? But he was the only one. He was the only one who would be very blunt about the topic that he was talking about. And he would just come straight down on the head of the nail, and he would pound it in and make his point.
Right.
Now,
it was more like a suggestion, and now it's like, go and do it.
Yeah, well, now it's just like, they are so much more. Yeah, they're so much more direct, and they're like, this is good, this is bad. Like, do you see those differences? And I think that eventually, like, when you're in discussion with people, or me, or, you know, we're going to have to stand up for what is right. Like, we cannot do, like, oh, well, here's black, and here's white, and here's in the middle, and we're kind of like, we don't want to hurt your feelings, but, you know, I think that it's going to change, like, the way we discuss things with people, and even though you want to be very, you know, polite and stuff, I mean, think of Christ in the temple and how he threw the money changers out. Like, he did not do that politely, I'm sure, you know, like, get out, you know, like, so I think it's going to change, which is scary, because that means, like you said, they fight even harder. You know, and
they're vicious.
Super. Yeah. And so
we need not to be vicious.
my mom has a saying that says it's very hard to be kind and be truthful at the same time. Which you can't tell the truth sometimes and be kind, because sometimes the truth is kind of ugly. Yeah.
Like when you gain 10 pounds. There's nothing nice about that. There's nothing. You know, it's like, either you ignore it or you just tell it how it is.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah.
It's called Thanksgiving and Christmas every year.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, man.
Okay. Anyways, we gotta get moving. Honestly, if we just keep talking, we're gonna get to every point anyways. But I'll just I'll have to pretend I'm a good leader here.
You're doing great.
Okay. So if you are from or have ever lived in a country where the CRC has already been ratified, what are some of the positive and negative effects you've observed as a result? If you're from the U.S. or something with an S, where the CRC has not been ratified, then research in the country to document the positive and negative effects and relate how their country benefit or hurt your country in a future CRC ratification. I don't know anybody who is like this, but even just from the little things I was able to look up so far, it's not positive. Nothing positive so far has happened. You know, so I'm like, why are we continuing to push this? If, you know, like, it's not, you know, if the AIDS is still continuing to go up, you know, like, all these things are, you know, these are all still negative effects. Why are we still trying to push this agenda?
The only reason why I would see this being like positive, the only like good thing that would make me like feel like it's good, it's with like child trafficking, you know, like when they like take children and have them do like, you know, sex workers and stuff like that. Like in this like situation, like their rights is like they have a say too, you know, like. And that's the only thing that is coming to my mind. Like, I don't know of any situations where it's helped a child. But, like, that's the only thing that's coming to my mind. But basically, I totally agree with you, Chelsea. I don't think it's having any positive effects on people or on children.
You know, and then go with those children that were trafficked, and they come back to their country of origin. Are there systems in place? Is there counseling? Is there counseling for the parents to kind of help the child? I mean, is there actually? I didn't read anything about that. I've heard them like they return to their country of origin, but I never heard them say, oh, like an update, like they went into this program where they stay like at a safe house or whatever, and parents come in, and I mean, because the child has to be afraid, and it has, the child has to be wondering what's going to happen to them, and how is society going to react to them coming back into their culture and the society?
Damaging.
Exactly. And I didn't read anything of like, we turn these kids, and that was it. There was no
anything.
There was nothing else. No.
It was the end. We returned the kids. The end.
See, and I looked at specific countries who have already brought it into law, I don't know if it's ratified.
Ratified, yeah.
Maybe they did. Anyway, so because there's so many of them, 193 so far, and I specifically searched out certain countries, and none of them had information on it, how it helped or hurt,
Yeah.
And I thought, why wouldn't they at least talk about it? Or somebody out there who's going to be, talking about it, whether it's on the news or a blogger or whatever, but nothing. I don't know why I couldn't find anything. Maybe I wasn't using the right words, but I was
Or, how much do they even, when they set, what they call the rights, when they go back the next year, how much do they follow up on, the program, how much do they see, its cause, its effect, how much do they see that it's helping, it doesn't even, huh?
Well, and if you ratified it, but you're not implementing into your culture or country, then what's the point?
Yeah.
They're wasting time and money.
Right.
Well, and from the interview with the guy from Arizona, the ladies, they were talking about how there are already laws in place to protect children in the United States.
Right.
And why in the world would we need the CRC? Because, what did they say? They said it was, the international treaties trump all state laws. So, if you have that signed, it doesn't even matter what laws you have on the books already, the treaty just takes precedence over that.
Well, yeah,
That's ridiculous. Because people fought good and hard to get laws passed in their states to protect children, and then you're going to have, if they do eventually sign, ratify this in treaty, it will just negate everything that everybody's ever tried to do to help children.
Yeah. Well, it's and I'm sorry, these people that are the ones who are in charge who get to sign this bill, I want to sign it myself. It's on such a big scale that I don't know, we can't trust this government anymore. You can't, these people that are in charge of saying, signing things yes and no, voting yes and no, yeah, I understand that we vote them in, but at the same point, it's I didn't tell you to say yes or no to this. Did you ask the majority, or are you just going off of what you feel?
I hate it when they do that.
Yeah. I think a lot of them go off of how they feel.
No, it's how much money they get.
Yeah.
It's not on how they feel. It's who funds them, who re-elects them. I mean, they are all funded. Both parties. They both receive money from their own, function people. And so the people with the most money generally win. And the most money are the people who are very liberal and the people who are extremists. Yeah. And so it's not necessarily about how they feel or anything. It's about who is padding their pockets.
Yeah. I know I lived in Chicago for quite some time.
Yeah.
They're very corrupt there.
Oh my gosh.
Well, what? 2 governors are now in jail? I mean, it comes down to money. And what they're saying is the CRC is $60 million, and the family, United Families have they were in debt $200,000 or something like that. I'm oh.
Yeah.
Well, where can't we donate or make a?
Yeah, but my
I don't know.
Isn't gonna help.
I know, right?
That's all I really have to donate.
If this was on the news, and people found out about it, and they
That would make
contacted their senator, and they contacted, like, Sister, was it Houghton said, you know, I have a voice, we all have a voice, and if everybody says something, you know, then we can fight the fight. But if nobody knows about it, which is where we're currently sitting, is nobody knows about it, how can you fight against a battle that you're not aware of?
Yeah. Okay. Are we okay to move on to the next question?
Sure.
Okay. How did Kelly's presentation help your understanding of the ecological approach to family advocacy? It was just really empowering. Like, she just, you know, like, kind of like what you were just saying, Jeanette, you know, you have a voice, you have a say, you know, use it. You know, that's how we're going to advocate for families, is by using our voice. All of us, you know, if we all have these feelings, okay, like what you just did, you know, that was a great example, especially for this lesson. This is, you know, that's how you do it. You contact your center, you know, you tell them what this and that, and how you feel, and whatever else, and, you know, that is standing up for your side. You know, obviously, you know, Sister H from the video, you know, she's gone above and beyond all those things and done a lot of different conferences and whatever else, of course. But so obviously eventually, hopefully, we'll get to that point where we can do those things as well. But you know, just from the video, just helped me realize, you know, this information is important for us to know, and we shouldn't just sit back and, you know, pretend that ignorance is bliss anymore. We need to know what's going on. We need to, if it's not on our televisions, then we need to search for it and find it, you know, and find those things that's going on, and then say yes or no to them. I don't know. There's something I saw on Facebook earlier today. Actually, it was, you know, it was a liberal thing. It said, you know, to your right-wing people, it says and it had, you know, showed a picture of a gay couple getting married by a woman priest or whatever. And then it said, and then at the bottom of the picture had a, you know, a starving kid in another country eating food off the floor, and it said, you know, basically, you conservatives are spending millions of dollars to prevent basically gay marriages, but yeah, what about, you know, basically this poor starving child? You're not doing anything to help him, and you're saying, you know, what is more important here? You stopping gay marriage, or you know, feeding hungry children? I was just like, oh my gosh, that is completely not what's happening. Like, it was just kind of the same thing. It's just like, I don't know, it's Satan putting up another front so that you don't see what's really going on behind it. You know, it was horrible. So this video just like, okay, when you see things like this, you stand and say, no, this isn't what's happening. This is what is really happening, you know, and share your side of it.
Well, and we have, and going off of what you said, Chelsea, we have starving children in our country, 1 in 5, in our own country, and we're worried about everybody else and giving money to all these other countries, and why can't we help our own country out? It's frustrating.
You know why the U.S. gives money to other countries, right?
Well, yeah.
No. I'm getting to a point. It's so they can have control in the other countries' thing.
Right.
Like, think about like what happened at the UN. You know, with the what is it called? Sex education. You don't put sex education into your programs, we will withdraw all of our money from your country.
Right.
So they're
we are the bully.
Manipulation. Well, it's manipulation. Like, we're manipulating them, and we, the people, the majority of the people, don't have any idea what's going on. Like, we have no idea. Like, we don't know that we're pushing aid onto countries, and that we are forcing them to take our, or somebody's, like, standards, you know, like, it's terrible. It's super terrible, and I totally agree with you. Like, I think we should get our fingers out of everybody else's country.
Exactly. I think we should help those people, but I don't think we should be the bully. I didn't know we were a bully, and other people didn't know that we're for marriage. I think Sister Houghton said that she talked to somebody where, you know, oh, you're a stay-at-home mother and you live in the United States? There is such a thing? I'm like, what? Why is this so wrong? Why is it so wrong?
Because that's not what they see on the TV. That's not how they, you know, that's not anything that they have ever experienced from the United States. That's why I think the majority of the people in the U.S. are good people. They are trying hard to, you know, like God-fearing people. But the voice on the other side is so loud that the minority is only heard. Like, yeah. And I think it's super sad. Like, we are well on our way to bad things.
That's true. But what can we do about it though? Besides,
I think you need to protect your own family.
Right. Well, I don't
know. I don't know what to do. I agree with what they've said, that you need to make a stand and take a stand and try and fight for right. But holy crud, like, you are up like against a waterfall. One person against a whole waterfall of garbage. And how in the world? What are you gonna do? Like, get a bucket and start, you know? I mean, it's a continuous feed of trash, and you have one. I mean, if you had 300 million people with buckets, that would make sense, but you don't. Right. You know, like, you can't get the majority of the people to come together to make a difference yet. I think that it's going to take a calamity, like a major catastrophe, for people to actually come together, for good people to come together and to make a difference.
Well, that's something that reminds me of what happened. I was in an institute class this week, and he said, the instructor said, before the second coming, there's going to be something's going to happen. We don't know what, but everybody's going to know that it was the hand of God, and I think that will wake people up. But I don't want to wait that long. You know, like, that seems, you know, it just sounds, I don't know, this class opened my eyes. I'm just my mouth was open. I was like, oh, what is going on in the world? Yeah. This is horrible. What can I do? Yeah, I know.
Am I the only one who's so confused and lost and didn't even know that this was happening?
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows. I think that's on purpose that they don't tell us, too. Yeah. I mean, I think that is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, well, we've already kind of talked about this a little bit, but I'm just going to, say the question just in case. It says, how did Kelly's presentation help you? I just read that one, sorry. What system or level do you personally feel would be the most difficult to advocate, and why? The one I read this question, the first thing that came to my mind was she talked about how, how we don't get to advocate for our own children, kind of a thing. Like, they are going to tell us how to raise our children, and basically, you can have kids and you can't have kids, and when you do have kids, what you can and can't do with them. It doesn't matter what you say, what you think, what you feel. This is what you have to do. I can't get behind that.
It's true. It's so funny. Like, you get back. Actually, it's like they're taking the power away from kids, from you, as and then they're parents. It's like, it's not just humans that give you the right to take care of a child. It's God. Like, it's your own. It's like a divine calling, and no human being should tell you how to take care of yours. Yeah. So, and I think that's was really annoying about everything. I'm not a parent. I don't know how you guys feel right now. If I was a parent, I'll probably be punching the laptop right now. Just kidding.
No, you're not.
So funny.
Okay.
Yes, peer frustration.
About that? Before we go on to the next
I agree with Ava. I feel like peer frustration, like, why doesn't anybody know what is going on? Why even, like, do the church members know at church? Does my city know? Does my state know? Does anybody know what's going on?
Well, did you know?
What?
Did you know? Before this class,
I didn't know.
Neither did I. So do you think that anybody else knows?
Anybody who takes this class definitely finds out, and then
it's family advocacy class.
They make this a requirement then.
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
They should teach this instead of Sunday school.
We can have a little bit more buckets to help us.
No, really, if we get this to every Mormon in the world, that would definitely matter. Seriously, no, that is a really good idea, Hillary.
Think about it. I mean, you know, I'm sorry, I'm not bashing Sunday school. I think it's great. But I think there's so many other things to learn in regards to the world that we live in and how we need to help it. And also, what is it called? Oh, shoot. Last semester I took a class, I don't even remember what it was called, but somebody talked about the 12 steps of addiction, and I thought, oh my gosh, they should teach that in Sunday school. Like, they should talk about it. Everybody I know has an addiction. I mean, whether it is a terrible, terrible addiction, or just one that you're like, oh man, I really need to get over this. I just need to overcome this part of my life. But I just thought, why don't they teach things that are that we can use in church? I'm not saying that you can't use things from Sunday school, but I just think that it's more empowering for people to say, listen, these are the things that you can do to help yourself, or these are the things that you can do to overcome this challenge that you're facing, and this is how you do it. And why don't they teach that where, like you said, the majority of Mormons go to church, right? Most of us.
Yeah.
And so I think you're right. I think they should bring these things up in important places where people are going to listen, I mean, obviously not everybody is going to think that's a great idea, but I think that most LDS people, if they found out about this, they'd be like outraged. They'd be like, are you kidding me? And in any country, because it's in 190 different countries, they'd say, that's in my country? It's been ratified in my country? Are you kidding me? There's got to be something I have to do to get this out. And then they, you would hope that they would take it to their friends and their families, those who are not LDS, and say, oh my gosh, did you know that this is happening in our country? And let's do something about it, because the majority of people, unless you're in a very predominant of a different religion, like country, whether it's you're in a Hindu country or a Muslim or Buddhist, but the majority of other countries are all Christian. So you're not going to tell me that most Christian countries will not be outraged if they find out about what is hidden in the CRC. Most people, the majority of people would be outraged if they really knew. And I think that they should talk about these things where they have a public forum, and church is one of them. But we won't, because it's not that big of a deal, right?
Well, I completely agree with that. I think if you say something, if you one voice, we had a presidency meeting a couple months ago, and I was praying about our ward. We had a presidency meeting, and I know we talk about problems, everybody's problems, and what can we do to help them. And I said, why don't we have a parenting class? Because I think that we could benefit. I think anybody, any parent, even non-parents, can benefit from this. Like young married or single people that will get married, and chances are they will marry somebody with children. And so we have the Relief Society president is married to a doctor of marriage and family therapy, and he's teaching a parenting class second hour or during Sunday school for parenting. And then this is going to be this is our first round. It was I don't know, was it 10 weeks or 12 weeks of a class, and taught us how to be better parents and to be better people, basically, and to teach our children what we want them.
Yeah. I think that is so cool.
Right.
And so I think if we just say something, like Sister Houghton said, if we just say something, I think one person can make a difference. And I'm not saying it. I mean, it made a difference for me in how I parent my kids, and I think it made a difference to other people. But for me, it changed me, and it changed my outlook on things, and it made me put in me, if I was a child, how would I feel, or what do I need, or what are they trying to tell me? Are they miscuing me? Are they wanting to explore when they need me to comfort and hold them? Because they pick up on that stuff, and it was just really interesting. It was really interesting. to me. And so now in 2 weeks, because this week is state conference, and so not this week, but next week they'll start a second round, and like you have to be invited in and stuff like that to this class. But hopefully this will continue and get to all the members of the board. So I think Sister Houghton had a very good, I can make a difference, and I think that this is frustrating. It seems like such a huge issue, but I think if we just say something or even tell somebody about this, that we know this, and they tell somebody, and they tell somebody, and they tell somebody, it can make a difference.
Oh, we should post on Facebook.
Yeah, because then it'll be trending real fast. YouTube.
Exactly, right? Make a YouTube video that goes viral.
Yeah.
Figure out to do something very clever that people will be like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like that stupid, what is it? I don't know if you saw it. It was like a Dollar Shave Club. I don't even know. Did you guys see that video?
Yeah. My mother-in-law gave that to my husband for Christmas. Okay, let's wrap this up. Teachers not bored with us, even though we're not bored.
No.
The last question says, what system or level do you personally feel is the most important to advocate, and why? Another thing I thought was really important was marriage. For one, they talked, the video just talked about how, like they were just dogging marriage, how it's oppressive to women and this and that. Like, okay, first off, can I have a say in what my marriage is and what it isn't? I'm definitely not one who is going to let myself be beaten down by anybody. First off, my husband. So I would have never married the man if he was going to do those things to me. My marriage is anything but oppressive, and when it comes to forcing women to go to work and making their children be in a daycare, I work at a daycare. I see this stuff every single day. I see the positives from it, but I also see the negatives. I see the effects on the kids when the parents walk out the door, and the kids that are there for 12 hours a day, even when their parents are off. I see what it is.
Oh.
Yes.
Even when they're off of work?
Even when they're off.
I worked in daycare too.
It's like, and I don't know, for me, my dream is to get to be a stay-at-home mom. Not because I don't want to work and I want to stay home in my slacks and pajamas all day or whatever it is. I don't care if you want me to work from home when my kids are sleeping. That's fine, whatever. I want to raise my children because I don't trust anyone else to. There's so many important things going on. Like, some of these parents that I have, I'm like, you don't even know my first name. Why doesn't that concern you? You know nothing about me, and I'm taking care of your child all the way along. I am teaching your children anything I want to teach them. Why are you not concerned with this? Why does this not at least know my name? So it's just like, for me, I'm just like, I want to raise my children. I don't want to put them in some daycare that's, run by the government and, teachers are being rotated out through every single day. That's hard on kids. I see the statistics in all these other classes and I look at it and I'm like, I'm living that. I'm seeing firsthand what's happening to these kids, the good and the bad. And it's not all bad at daycares, but, it's not all bad at home with your mom either. And, that's one thing that would be really easy for me to stand up for. Because, nowadays you're lucky if you get to be a stay-at-home mom and be with your children. You're lucky. That's become more of a dream than getting to have a great career is. It's sad. It's sad that it's that way. It's one of those things for me, like, no, I will sacrifice everything to get to be at home and raise my own children. As much as I possibly can. But anywho, I'm stepping off my podium. Next.
Well, who said there's no success can make up for failure in the home?
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I worked in daycare too, and I had kids calling me mama.
Yeah.
I worked in the baby, and it's just heartbreaking. And their mom comes in, and they're like reaching for me, screaming, "My!"
Yeah. Like they're more excited to see you than their parents sometimes. That's hard.
Yeah. And I'm standing, and we were taught you can't, put your arms out. You can't. You have to basically ignore the children that's doing that, and the mom takes them out kicking and screaming, and I'm like crying at the sink, like it's just horrible.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Oh, what were you gonna say? Sorry. I got super excited. I was just gonna say how, like, with events like that, I've never taken care of a child, but like that can cause like attachment problems and like cause them to be scared and like just have negative results on the child, you know. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
bad.
Yeah, they changed my room. I had to go to I was in the toddler room, from like when they start crawling to age like 3. I was in that room, and so I had one particular child that got really attached to me. His name was Michael, and they had to switch me for a while and put me in the baby room because of that attachment to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I had him, 12 hours a day. He came in his pajamas, and he left in his pajamas, and I took care of him all day,
Yeah. It's hard.
So.
Yeah, I'm in the 12 months to 18 month room, so I see a lot of the same stuff. Especially
Yeah.
because that's such a crucial age for them, who they look to for protection and help and understanding and for love to be nurtured. And so, I mean, not that I'm perfect or anything, I'm definitely not, but some of these parents are lucky that I actually love kids. I want to hug the kids. I want to love on the kids. I want to make them feel like they are cared about. That when there's something wrong, they can come cry to me and I'll help them. Like some of these other people that I work with, not that they're horrible, but I see some of the things that they do, and I'm like, do you realize what you just did to that child? Emotionally, what you've done to that child. Not that a little tough love isn't good for them, because it is, but gosh, like these kids need to be loved on. And I don't know, it's just so many things that I'm seeing. It just make it more for me like, hey, like I want to be my own mom. And not have to pass it off to somebody else. I don't want to be a replaceable parent. I really don't. It's hard. But I get attached to all of them, so you can tell me I can't, but I'm going to, because they need to be loved on.
Well, they're lucky to have you, then.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anywho, does anyone else have any other comments or things they want to say before we end this? We've been talking for like an hour, which is great because obviously we're learning, but our teacher can just skim our stuff.
Exactly.
I know. That's a lot of videos to watch.
Yeah.
I just agree with you. I think that it's important to start with the family, to advocate for the family, because eventually, like, the family is, like you said, probably the most important part of that. Like,
Sure.
Because everything else stems from there. So.
It's true. Yep. I know that what you said is true.
So do you want me to wrap it up and we'll just review really quick?
Yeah. So let's wrap it up.
I hope I can get this right, guys. Okay, so yeah, I know. So I'm just gonna say a couple things. So we talked about our impressions of the videos and how Satan puts up a really good front, the CRC video, and how it sounded eloquent, but the stuff inside the articles are really scary because it's a lot of control over the family and what the family can and cannot do. Let's see. It also, let's see, we feel that something has to be wrong with the people who are writing these documents, because it just doesn't seem like it's common sense. Let's see, and the public doesn't know anything about it, and they haven't heard that they need to fight for marriage. We also talked about the countries and the negative effects, like child trafficking, and if they go back to their country of origin, if they have any counseling or families available, and what happens to them, the children that goes back. Let's see. We talked about if nobody knows about the issues and how do they fight against it, because it's not on the news and it's not ever publicly talked about anywhere other than in class. So, and how we have a voice and we need to use it. So, Jeanette contacted her senator, which is awesome. So I think I'm gonna have to do the same thing. Let's see. We talked about how it's difficult to advocate. Let's see. For power away from the family. So I don't know why I wrote that down. But God gives us the right to take care of our children. So that's what Eva said. And one person can make a difference. And marriage. So marriage needs to be advocated for because that is where everything starts. Marriage and family. Go. Okay.
All right.
So are we
Thank
good?
You.
Thank you.
All right,
and thank
bye
you,
guys.
Chelsea,
Good
for
job.
leading. Good night, you guys.
All right.
Good
Good night,
night.
ladies. It's good talking to you.
Bye.
Right.
Are you
Bye.
gonna post recording?
Yeah, I'll post.
Okay.
Yep.
Night, guys.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.